How's it going, everybody? My name is Coley, and as promised, this is going to be the ambulance tour video. So, a little bit before the video starts, this is our rig 316, and this is, Ocean Gate Volunteer Squad 31. So, that's where I run the ambulance out of, so this is going to be our ambulance tour. Alright, so we're going to be starting back to front. So, obviously, here's the back of our ambulance. Over to get somebody else. Open up both doors. We don't have a hydraulic structure, we have a manual structure, so when you go in, get a quick release, come out, start squeezing, legs come down, and your stretcher is free, good to go. So on our stretchers, to go up and down, we have either over here, you'll see red latches. We'll squeeze that in, and then that'll lower legs and whatnot. As of right now, I only have my cameraman and I. You can also do this to lower the stretcher with one person. And then if you come back up, it's the same thing as a latch. And it comes up. So that's our stretcher, pretty basic. We have an oxygen tank on the back. You can hook up nasal cannulas, non-breathers, whatever you need. And you can also adjust the headrest up and down as such. We do have shoulder straps if needed, but typically we'll just use our 3-in-1 straps. And that's our stretcher. Alright, so now we're going to be going over a lot of our moving devices. So in here we have our reeves, we have our backboards, we have our scoop stretcher, basically every kind of moving device you'll need. So I'll go into a little bit more detail with those now. Alright, so now this is our moving devices, a little bit more in depth. So here on my right we have the reeves. This is going to be used for narrow hallways, things like that. It's essentially just a flexible backboard. In the middle we have our standard backboard. So you can put head blocks here and then your 3, 2, 1 lift, that kind of sort of thing. We're going to use that to get people from the ground to the stretcher. And here we have our scoop stretcher. So it's similar to the backboard, only these will actually pull apart, and then you can slide it under the patient like that, and you're going to use that primarily on spinal injuries. Alright, so now we're going to be going over our main compartment that you can access from the outside and the inside. So for us, we're going to have our oxygen. We have that labeled with our orange oxygen. We also have non-breathers and nasal cannula staff in here. Coming up, have our AED and BVMs for pediatrics. So that's all of our pediatric airway, and then there's our AED. Coming up, you'll get your trauma kit. So we're going to use that in MBAs. That just has pretty much more bleeding supplies, things like that. If you open up your side door, you can see we have inside compartment, so you can access everything that we just talked about from the inside, as well as you'll see our suction. So that's going to be our suction unit to clear airways. You can use a rigid tip catheter or soft tip catheter with that. And then up here you'll see everything is labeled. Alright, we're now going to be getting to the left side of the truck. So to start off in the back compartment, this is essentially our engineer's cabinet. So it also has our bleeding supplies and things that we talked about in the back. You can access that here. But we also have our tools. We have some rooms, just little things like that. We also have a mini fire extinguisher. It's essentially just like an engineer's cabinet. Alright, now we're going to be getting into the middle compartment. So in here, this is where we keep our turnout gear. This is essentially our rehab cabinet. So, if there's ever a threat that things could fall on our head, we'll, put on our gear, put on our helmets. We also have oxygen in here. And this is everything you're going to need on fire, too, so that we can support the firefighters, give them water, make sure they're alright, make sure we're safe as well. So under our turnout gear, so we keep our KED. So KED is something you could use in the MBA to stabilize the patient. A traction splint, you're going to use that on a femur fracture. And then a fracture kit is just more splints, things like that. So this is pretty much our splint cabinet as well. So this is our driver's side first compartment. So here we have our main oxygen tank and our stair chair. And the stair chair will give you an in-depth little demonstration in the back. Alright, so here's your stair chair. This is how it comes off the truck. So to assemble it, fold your seat down, handles come out, your straps, black goes over to black, and then green goes over to green across each shoulder. Have your handles in the back. It's going to be used to support as you're going down. And then you also have your tracks, which are essentially going to glide down the stairs. So you're going to be here supporting the patient as you go down the steps. Each time you go down, it will essentially glide down each step. So that's how we get down flights of stairs, things like that. But the patient does have to be conscious. Alright, so now that we reviewed our stretcher and the outside, we're going to come in. So as you'll see, you start off with a pretty decently sized cab. All of our things are labeled, so we have our heat and cold packs, we have our sterile water, we have our glucose, and if the lights go off, our light switch is right there. But this is basically everything we're going to need, bleeding control, everything like that. We have our OB kit, burn kit, everything like that. Over here, we have some of our precautionary gowns, isolation kits, cleanup kits, we got goggles, N95s, whatever you'll need. Over here, you'll see we got sheets for the stretcher, pretty self-explanatory there. This is the inside of the compartment on the passenger first side. So in there we have our oxygen, we have our suction, we also have our trauma kit. Different from the jump kit, which is behind you. We'll go over that momentarily. Getting over here, this is basically our lights in the back of the ambulance. This is also going to control our main oxygen tank, which we keep back there. I'll show you guys. So over here, you would hook up a nasal cannula non-rebreather to, and then that's easy access to the patient's head. And our tank is over there. As we showed you, it's on the driver's side first window there. We also have a radio that we can contact dispatch from the back here if we needed to. And we have all of our different types of gloves for anyone who's going to be on our truck. We have our cleaning supplies and our suction. Alright, so now we're going to be going a little bit more in depth with our jump kit. So as you see, it has the truck 316 labeled, that way we don't get it confused with our other kits. Started off, we have our glucose for diabetic patients. We have saline flush if you ever need to flush anybody's eyes. We also have regular saline. We can use this to clean wounds if we need to. We have cold packs. We have our OPAs. This is going to be for our airway management. We have our NPAs, and this is going to be for our airway management as well, but you're going to be going in the nostril. So we also have some regular bandage, gauze, bleeding control, things like that. Have our non-rebreather and our nasal cannula.
Nasal cannula.
We also have a burn sheet in here. And we'll pretty much have everything in here that you will need on any first aid call that we go on. Alright, so now we're getting into the driver compartment. So equipped with every vehicle, wheel and pedals, we have that. Here's where it gets special. So coming into here, we have our center console, as you would put it. So our module power is essentially the lights and all the functions of the ambulance, so you always want that on. Your master switch is going to activate your lights. So now you will see our lights are on, we'll show you that. And then getting into here, this is going to be our power to our sirens, things like that. So because the vehicle is off, you're not going to see that. Well, now we'll go show them look at the lights. So that's going to wrap up the ambulance tour. I hope you guys enjoyed. This was 316, and if you guys want to see any more real life videos, make sure to smash that like button, drop a comment, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.